Good day to Professor Dr. Nisaa. I am Chairun Lubis from Cluster of Business and Management, Open University Malaysia. Today I'm going to present on the risk response planning for offshore gas pipeline development projects in Vietnam Southwest region. CN Oil and Gas Sdn Bhd is a Malaysian local company that has been in operation for 17 years. Three core business of CN Oil and Gas are onshore fabrication, offshore construction works, and commissioning of offshore platforms. Currently, we are planning to expand our business to Vietnam due to the fact that Vietnam has the third largest gas reserve in Southeast Asia after Indonesia and Malaysia. We will be focusing in the southwest region of Vietnam, as this area has yet to reach its maximum capacity, and we can foresee the future growth of this area and the opportunities. Before we embark into this project, the adoption of a sound risk management approach is a core component for this project to be successful. Risk can be defined as any unwanted event or situations that could potentially impact a project scope, schedule, cost and quality, and subsequently lead to project failure. There are 4 phases in risk management, which are risk identification, risk assessment, risk response, and documentation or review. The input for risk identification are based on the organization, environmental factor, organizational process of assets, project scope management, project management plan, and risk management plan. The process involved in these projects' risk identification are information collection, documentation review, and assumption analysis. There are 24 risks were identified and categorized in 14 risk types. The output from risk identification process is risk register. This is the sample of risk register for offshore gas pipeline development projects in Vietnam Southwest region. The second phase of risk management is risk assessment. In this project, a probability statistical element is used to measure the risk, where a score for both probability and impact is given to a risk event. These scores are then multiplied to obtain the final scores and subsequently prioritizing the risk. The output from risk assessment process is risk assessment matrix. This is the risk assessment matrix for this project. As you can see here, the risks are divided into 3 categories, which are low risk, medium risk, and high risk. There are 5 major risks that has been identified as high risk. The top 5 major risks in this project are poor project planning, cost estimates and budgeting, delay on the delivery of long lead items and shortage of materials, delay on the offshore installation works, shortage of offshore manpower, poor performance and inexperienced contractor. The third phase of risk management is risk response. Risk response is the process of coming up with the strategic action plans to enhance the opportunities and mitigate the threats of a risk event. Risk response is divided into 4 categories, which are mitigation, acceptance, avoidance, and transference. There are some factors that need to be considered in developing the risk response planning. It can be divided into internal factors and external factors. The example of internal factors for this project is complex design guidelines, inappropriate project engineering and feasibility study, and using faulty machineries. The example of external factors are government barrier and obstruction, bad weather, and lack of coordination among subcontractors and contractor. This is the risk response plan for this project. The risk response plan for poor project planning, cost estimates and budgeting is mitigate. Mitigation plan for this risk event is by developing the KPI and keep the project team informed and takes ownership of its project. Risk response plan for delay on the delivery of long lead items and shortage of materials is mitigate. The mitigation plan for this risk event is by developing the contract and procurement plan constantly monitor the availability of the materials, expedite the delivery, and allocate material and contingencies. Risk response plan for delay on the offshore installation works is ACCEPT. The acceptance plan for this risk event is by implementing contingency plans and actions to be determined in case of a risk event. The risk response plan for shortage of offshore manpower is mitigate. The mitigation plan for this risk event is by preparing offshore manpower schedule and planning and perform predictive analysis from historical trends to diligently forecast the manpower needed. The risk response plan for poor performance and inexperienced contractor is mitigate. The mitigation plan for this risk event is by striking out the incompetent contractors from the organization's vendor list. The final phase of risk management is documentation or review. Documenting the risk responses is done in a three-phase manner, which are historical database, current project database, and post-project review and archive. Historical database is important for the benefit of other future projects as a reference to mitigate the risk and to ensure that the business expansion plan is successful and within the stipulated budget and time. It is important that all key issues and risks that are to be encountered are recorded in a systematic and detailed manner in the current project database. It is essential for the project team to perform a comprehensive post-project review to determine the lesson learned from the project, document them thoroughly, and archive it accordingly. As a conclusion, in order for CN Oil and Gas to ensure that the business expansion is successful in Vietnam Southwest region, a thorough risk management process was executed, and the project risk management was done collectively and diligently within the entire project team. Certain risks can never be eliminated, but it is imperative to have a proper risk response plan in place to minimize its adverse impact on a project while ultimately ensuring that the project meets its goal and objective. Thank you.